Brigitte Bardot, the iconic French model and actress, has entertained us since the early 1950s. She made her childhood dream of being in the limelight a reality, but behind the scenes, she has lived a life shunned by family and full of near-death experiences, some even self-inflicted. On September 28, 1934, in the heart of Paris, under the watchful gaze of the Eiffel Tower, Brigitte Anne-Marie Bardot graced the world. Born into the affluent household of Louis Bardot, a diligent engineer, and Anne-Marie Moussel, daughter of an insurance magnate, who both resided in the 15th arrondissement of Paris, Bardot was christened into the conservative embrace of a Catholic family. She had aspirations of becoming a ballerina. Young Bardot danced through her formative years in Paris. Though privileged in a 7-bedroom luxurious apartment, Bibi's childhood was tough for a child seeking the freedom to live. Her mother, Anne-Marie, was a strict parent who wasn't as tender to her daughters, Brigitte and Mijanou, as mothers should. As expected of a typical French family, Mommy and Daddy set the rules, and the girls had to obey. In all that heat, she suffered from amblyopia, which resulted in decreased vision in her left eye as a child. For a growing child, the tension between Bibi and her strict parents escalated during a childhood incident that forever altered their relationship. A game of make-believe where they pulled on the tablecloth and made the favorite Chinese vase of their parents fall on the floor, crashing to pieces. Because of that event, their parents flogged them with 20 strokes each and told both girls to address them by using vous, the formal form of address for strangers. That brought an estrangement that erected an emotional wall within Bardot's cherished childhood memories. It wasn't easy being a teenager under the watchful eyes of her parents during the Second World War. Brigitte was just 7 when she had to go to dance school. She loved it, and her parents felt it was a socialite skill, so she enrolled, leaving her with plenty of time to indulge in her love for dance. In 1949, Bibi got the nod from the prestigious Conservatoire de Paris. For the next 3 years, she waltzed in her passion for ballet under the guidance of Russian choreographer Boris Knyazov. It was a time of learning, twirls, and the beginnings of a fascinating journey for Bibi. Despite what looked like a happy life, Brigitte's longing for affection and freedom could no longer be hidden beneath her well-mannered exterior. She loved animals and, as expected, wasn't allowed to have any by her parents, but she found a way to rescue a stray cat, despite her parents' resistance. Brigitte's mother was a social enthusiast and wanted her daughters to be influential people at all costs, so she allowed Bibi to model for her friend's hat business. Turns out, her friend was also a photographer. These pictures got to magazines as important as Elle. In 1949, Brigitte was amazed when her photo was used as a last-minute replacement for the cover of France's Elle magazine, captivating the attention of film director Marc Allaret. That incident brought her in contact with Roger Vadim, the rebellious 21-year-old assistant of the film director with whom she sparked a steamy love affair. Vadim's unconventional charm clashed with Bardot's parents' expectations, but he recognized her potential as an actress. Indeed, Bibi's family disapproved of her relationship with Vadim, but it didn't matter because Vadim nourished her both professionally and personally. Vadim mentored her in the art of acting and orchestrated her rise to stardom. In 1952, Bardot secured her first acting role in Crazy for Love and a co-starring position in the drama The Girl in the Bikini, where her provocative on-screen persona challenged societal norms. The battle with her parents went from her scandalous appearances on screen to her marriage to Vadim at 18. Bibi was ready to commit suicide if refused the chance to marry Vadim, who had been threatened with a gun by her father. The rift deepened as her father, Louis Bardot, severed ties with the family, but it was a price she was willing to pay. She and Vadim couldn't get married yet, but they did unite professionally. He was writing scripts she could do and trying to get other directors interested in her. Vadim ensured she was photographed at whatever function they could ever go to. He was training her for future stardom, and she loved it. In 1952, Vadim got Bibi, who was 17 years old, her first acting job, a tiny part in the comedy Crazy for Love. She didn't quite enjoy it, but weeks later, Vadim secured her a cool, starring role in the sensual 1952 drama The Girl in the Bikini. It was a highly sensual act in which Bibi took great pleasure in outragging her parents with her skimpy on-screen wardrobe nude scene. She defied them again by marrying Roger Vadim that same year. Vadim was the son of a rich man. He was a Russian diplomat. He wasn't a tramp or anything like that. He was a well-brought-up young man, but a bit of a rebel. And rebels were famous in America, perhaps, but not in France. Vadim was precisely the opposite of what Bibi's parents wanted for her. In 1956, Brigitte Bardot travelled to Saint-Tropez to begin work on a new film directed by her husband. It was a racy script that showcased Brigitte's rebellious sexuality. It was called God Created Woman. It was nothing at first, but it had this young girl who kept doing insane things on screen. Her clothes kept falling off, and religious groups kept blasting Brigitte as a creation not of God, but of the devil. The Catholic Legion of Decency condemns it with a C rating, which means going to it counts as a mortal sin. She said, "I gave a new image of the way you should be in life in the movies. New, blonde, free, not stuffy, not hung up, not like a little lady's maid, no little corset, no little collar, no little thing, but stark naked." She was delivering. She took certain clothes off. She saw mainly her posterior. BB now meant either to be Brigitte Bardot or bare bottom, one or the other. She did a lot of controversial stuff, like showing her behind, which at the time was frowned upon by society. Well, now it has become an everyday occurrence. But when Bardot became a sensation, her marriage to Roger Vadim had reached an amicable end. She was having an affair with her leading man in God Created Woman, Jacques Jarrier, but they were pushed into that by Vadim anyway. They wanted more realism on the screen. She wanted to experience this life that she had been prevented from living. France's symbol of sex was about to become a mother at 24 when she finally married Jacques Jarrier. She didn't want to keep their child. It was a nightmare for her, and you could say she was a terrible mother to Nicolas. The press indeed attacked her for this. The child scandal weakened her marriage to Jacques, and they divorced. Soon, she was changing boyfriends rapidly, as if that might help her be anonymous. She was trapped. She needed privacy, but she was too much public property to have a very private affair. In September 1960, the day of her 26th birthday, BB's unconscious body was found outside her home. She had slashed her wrists and taken an overdose of pills, just like the character she played in The Truth. The actress was rushed to the hospital, where she was diagnosed as suffering from nervous depression. She went off screen for a while and returned in 1966 with a new man, Gunter Sachs. He was a millionaire industrialist and playboy whose courtship of the superstar was unexpected, unrelenting, and outrageous. Just after a month, Gunter and BB got married in Las Vegas, flying there on a jet loaned by Gunter's friend, Ted Kennedy. BB's lifestyle seemed the height of glamour, but her movies began to misfire at the box office. In 1968, the 33-year-old teamed with Sean Connery for the western Shalico. But there was only a fizzle instead of fireworks between BB and James Bond. That was the beginning of the end of being in the cinemas, and, subsequently, the end being the hedonistic Brigitte Bardot. As expected, nobody thought she meant leaving the spotlight for real. They all thought it was a hissy fit, and the rumours were, oh, she'll be back. But exiting the silver screen didn't mean drama took a back seat for BB. In fact, the post-cinema years made her even more infamous. Aside from dodging the media and its paparazzi through the 70s, BB was frustrated and very depressed, mostly because she tried to reconnect with her estranged son, but to no avail. She never believed in blood ties, and that was why she rejected her baby right from the moment he was born. It was so bad that even when Nicholas married his wife, Anne-Leen Bjerken, he did not invite his mother. BB always believed that she wasn't a good mother, let alone a grandmother. Since she couldn't reunite with her son, she poured all her love into animals, her new purpose, through the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, a global force with 27,000 members across 42 countries since 1986. It didn't matter what she was now doing with animals. People still felt that sexual aura around her. One man didn't just see that. He saw someone he would protect and stand by. That was in 1992, when BB finally met the man who would become her partner in her struggles. Bernard Dormal was a film distributor and a friend of controversial right-wing politician Jean-Marie Le Pen. Bibi, whose own politics were increasingly conservative, found Bernard fascinating and married him for the fourth time. The drama didn't end, it only changed sides. Bibi became a public figure once more, but this time she did not pity the victims of her derogatory remarks. In 1997, Bardot had also become a blunt critic of French society, and many who listened to her were disturbed by what they heard. She received a fine for slander and was fined over $3,000 by a French court for comments she had made in an article blasting Islamic immigrants to France in 1998. Her 2003 book, A Cry in Silence, sparked further controversy for passages in which Bardot angrily criticized the homeless, interracial children, and homosexuals. She even got a court order to pay her ex-husband, Jacques, and son, Nicolas, a total of 250,000 francs for defamation and invasion of privacy in her book Iniciales Bibi. So, for many people, she damaged her image more than it already had by the time she received a sixth fine of approximately €20,000, which happened to be the largest in 2021 for wagging her tongue. Something most people may not be aware of is that Bibi has battled a lot of health issues. Since she left screen acting, she's attempted suicide at least 6 times. The last time was in 1992. In 1983, after resigning from working, Bibi found out she had breast cancer. Maybe she thought, finally I would die in peace, because she refused treatment, and she shared the news with her friend, Marina Vladi. She had to be convinced to undergo treatment and make the diagnosis public. She chose radiation therapy over chemotherapy, and soon she was free of cancer. Although she overcame breast cancer, Bibi faced double degenerative arthritis. She was supposed to undergo surgery, but her fear of anesthesia and its potential ineffectiveness scared her. In 2014, she admitted that she relied on walking sticks to walk. It's been a life of enduring pain for her. I really wanted to die at certain periods in my life. Death was like love, a romantic escape. I took pills because I didn't want to throw myself off my balcony and know people would photograph me lying dead below. Unlike every other person, she wasn't always looking forward to her birthdays, something Vadim knew so well. For a herpes and cancer survivor, Bibi had another near-death experience in July 2023, which was termed respiratory distraction, because she's no longer accustomed to being in Saint-Tropez, a place she spent most of her acting days and now doesn't feel comfortable anymore because of the heat. That morning, the medics got an emergency call that she passed out and wasn't breathing so well. They rushed over and did what they could to revive her. Thankfully, she returned. It was a near-death experience for her, mainly as she already fought hard to win back her son, is fighting to restore her image, and maybe perhaps change some aspects of her early life she so much despises and feels crushed about. You may think she's the happiest in the world for having a movie series Bardot dedicated to her life, but she'd rather be in Saint-Tropez with her husband, managing the heat, her animals, and away from the public eye forever.